Hello again, Dan Alasso, Making History. It's day 44 in my retrenchment journey, so there's still a long way to go before my faculty job is over. There's a department meeting at noon today, and I'm wondering, as I'm planning my day, whether anything that we're going to discuss is going to seem really relevant or interesting to me. And as I'm thinking about that, it strikes me it's a bit strange how we convince ourselves that we're engaged in discussions or with topics that really don't excite us that much, just because it's part of our job. To some extent, I guess I approach this issue of interest and motivation in a way that you might consider to be economic, but I think of it as being more social. I'm pretty sure that it's important to listen to what other people are saying and to try to do something that enhances the well-being of the community that I'm in, rather than just doing whatever it is that I am most interested in and only following my own passion. I'm trying to find some type of convergence there. Now, this is not the same thing as try to find a niche where people are willing or happy to pay you for something. But how it's different might be kind of important. What I mean by that is I see a lot of people on YouTube and Substack and on the web generally who I think are really pursuing their actual interest and who are finding audiences. And this gives me encouragement, and this gives me some hope that I could do the same thing. Then I see others who began doing one thing, I think, watch out, kitty cat, and then gradually what they were doing morphed into something a little bit more kind of clickbaity. Like maybe they started by trying to write a blog that connected what was happening each day with historical precedents so that people could understand how what we're going through right now isn't entirely unique. But then maybe gradually that became just a talking point memo regurgitating current events from a very partisan perspective. Why did that happen? Was the pressure of posting daily too much? Was the economic lure of building a huge following, a huge paying subscriber base by feeding people's confirmation biases too overwhelming? I don't know the answer, but that worries me a bit because I don't want to be channeled into doing something only because I think it'll get a lot of clicks. I'd like to think that being in a classroom for me has been a bit of an antidote to being able to drift too far afield. There are things that I have to cover in U.S. History 1, for instance, whether they excite me or not. I haven't quite worked out what I'll do if I find an audience online, or what I'll do to find an audience. I suspect I will probably lean into the "I bet you didn't know this about your history" kind of space. Uncovering forgotten people and exploring ignored perspectives fascinates me. And I think it leads to stories that can be novel and can be compelling, and also can help expand our view of the complexity and nuance of the world of the past and of the world that we're living in now. These seem to me to be elements that are missing in our discourse nowadays. And I'd be much more interested in trying to talk about them and trying to expand the complexity and the nuance of that discourse, rather than just trying to support one side in a culture war that seems to me designed primarily to distract us from real problems that we should be coming together to solve. So I think I'm going to try to focus on these types of issues. I suspect that that will include talking about ways that people can get better researching, making notes, organizing their thoughts, and writing down their own syntheses. That is something that I've done a little bit of in the past, and I think there are some people who have been following me for a while who might be kind of happy if I began focusing a bit more regularly on these types of ideas. So I think you can expect to see that. And I also think that there is a connection between this note-making world and open education that I may be better positioned to explore than some other people who are working either in the note-taking space or in the open ed field. And then I think I hope I may be able to use some of my history skills to expand this discussion of complexity and to explore less well-represented perspectives. And this will almost definitely include continuing to focus on primary sources, and it will probably also include engaging with what other history folks are doing online, joining discussions, and commenting on things that other people are putting out there. And of course, also producing my own. So those, I think, are the things that I'm going to try to organize my work around and focus my time on producing things for online audiences. And I would be really happy to get feedback from people watching or reading and suggestions on things that you think it would be valuable for you personally if I focused on them. So thanks very much for those suggestions that I hope will come. Thanks for listening. I hope you found some of this interesting. I will see you again tomorrow.